Good evening, keeps of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am joined tonight by my buddy Nick's Kix and Comix.
What's up, everybody?
The guy with the fattest stacks of comics in the business.
Hey, yo.
And our special guest tonight, bringing in the new year with our first 2022 show, is none other than Marcus from the Surcam Stances YouTube channel. Marcus, welcome to the show, sir.
Station comic book fam, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to do it.
We got Nerdy here. We got Jerry the Jitterbug. We got
What
DJ
up, Travis?
Links.
Sith Lordly in the
Sith
house.
Lordly.
Okay, Titus. K
Yep,
Titus,
we
what's
got
up with the
Titus? He can't,
Titus,
he can't
what's up with the name
fool
change?
us with the hello.
Yeah, what's the name change about? Tell me what's going on, Titus.
Titus got hacked, the poor guy.
Is that really what happened?
Yeah, someone messed up his account.
Oh, that sucks.
Chop and drop. Of course, Ruby Guzman, the bearded Avenger himself. So, as we like to do, Marcus, before we get going, give a quick breakdown of your channel and yourself to the audience, and then we'll get asking you some questions and get to know you just a little bit better.
All right. My name is Marcus. I also go by Circumstances. It's been my online name for the past 20 years. I started my channel in March because I saw all of you cool people having a good time, and I wanted to be one of them. So I just started making really crappy videos. And my videos are still crappy, but they're definitely not as crappy as they were at the beginning. I basically do preview videos for New Comic Book Day. I try to highlight the artists and the talent behind the scenes doing the work, so that my main reason was I wanted to add value in that way, and I also wanted to familiarize myself with the talent so that I could be a better collector in terms of grabbing the things that I wanted. So I really try to focus on highlighting the artists so that when you go to a Comic-Con, you're not going to walk right by them because you didn't know what they look like. Hopefully I can help you know what they look like. And yeah, just trying to have fun. And I really enjoy comic book YouTube. I watch a lot of it. And the best part about it for me was, I started collecting when I was a kid, and I was a cool kid, if you will, but I did nerdy things like played RPGs and collected comic books. So none of my friends would care or share in the passion or the nerdiness with me. So the biggest thing about comic book YouTube was really that part of it, having people to share this passion with, because even still to this day, I sent you one of the clips. It's of me trying to share my comic book passion with my friends, and how they respond to it. They couldn't care less about it, and they don't, they'll stop hanging out with me if I try and talk about it too much. So it's really nice to have the comic book YouTube and the Instagram community to share this with, and I love it, man. I get drunk on it every day, man.
So this is the clip that he sent me. We'll show this real quick. I got a few more I'll show later.
Oh, what up, guys? Welcome to the Man Cave. You have got to check out this new series from James Tynan IV, Nice House on the Lake. It is so good, guys. Check it out.
Nerd, you're a fucking nerd. Nerd, you're a fucking nerd. And no one likes you. No one likes you.
I know a lot of people related to that one, and so I was real proud of it, because that one is real. I mean, that is very real life for me, anyway.
Well, it's odd. I'm lucky where I have a lot of people here that also collect, so I get to actually talk shop and talk comics. But there's nothing like the amount that people like it in the community that we're in. So, but how long have you actually been collecting?
I am one of the many people that started collecting again last year. I collected when I was a kid in the 90s during the Image, right before Image, and then the height of Image was when I started collecting. But I was a poor kid, so my collection is largely consistent of stuff that I was able to find in, bookshops and things like that. Hand-me-down stuff that nobody else wanted was the stuff that I was able to get for a quarter. So that's largely what my 90s collection was. I stopped collecting, though, because it just got to the point where it was just, I didn't have the money to get the things that I wanted. So it was just comic book collecting for me was just disappointment, really. So I quit for that reason. But I would always pull my comic books out, every so often ever since then, just see what's going on. Is anything worth anything? And of course, nothing was worth much. But this last in 2021, I was like, I wonder what's going on with my comic books. Let me pull them out and let's see what's going on. And then that's when I found this huge community of people who were excited about comic books and sharing comic books. And that's exactly what I missed from my childhood. And it just sucked me back in like that.
So I have a two-part question for you. All right. First one, can a brother get an ad on Facebook as a friend?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
And the second one is now that you got money and now that you're back in, what was that one book you needed to have?
Man, that's a good question. I'm still forming my comic book collecting goals. I've really been focused on modern books, but that one of the changes that I'm making here in 2022 is I really want to try and find some good raw books and get them slabbed is my goal. So as far as what I would go for, it's not worth a lot of money, but for me, my goal that I'm almost completing is going after the West Coast Avengers, the entire run, not just volume 1, not just volume 2, but every single volume, every single annual. I'm actually 2 books away from completing that. So for me to be able to have that, because that was really Avengers West Coast was the stuff you would find in the quarter bins back then, right? So that was my jam, dog. I mean, that was what I could get a lot of.
Characters in it too.
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of Vision and Scarlet Witch, and so Scarlet Witch was in it. And I'm a big John Walker fan. One of my favorite ones I remember was like 60 something when Hawkeye is talking smack to John Walker. He's always talking smack to John Walker, but in this issue, John Walker's like, "All right, bro, all right, I got superpowers, you don't. Let's go." And he proceeds to beat the hell out of Hawkeye. And I remember being like, "These guys are Avengers. They're on the same team." I remember that being a big deal to me as a kid. So completing West Coast Avengers was my goal. Is in terms of money, actual Grail goals. I haven't really formed those much. I just recently picked up the first appearance of Scott Lang, because I love the Ant-Man movies. I love Paul Rudd. He's from the KC area. What up, Dave Collects, man? Hope you got that package all right. He won my 250 subscribers giveaway. Nice. He actually got second place. Reichert Comics. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but he was on the scene for a bit and then disappeared. He actually won, but he's ghosted. So Dave Collects won by default.
Hashtag rigged.
Right?
It's always rigged.
It's always good to be flexible when it comes time to picking up grails, in my opinion. And otherwise, you get fixated on one or two, and it's going to cost you more money than you want because you become fixated on it, as opposed to being nimble and being able to go with where the market takes you.
Now, is that West Coast Avengers the one? Did you have that in your collection prior to starting up again?
It was what I had the most of from the 90s. Like I said, I wasn't able to go to a store on a monthly basis and grab the new comic book. I mean, that was a whole $1.25. I'm spending quarters here. So for me, it was the back bins, the quarter bins, and that's where Avengers West Coast was. So a big reason why I'm a big fan is that's just what I was able to get a run of. I was able to read a consistent story out of it, whereas everything else I have was sporadic here and there.
Some of those characters ended up in a little 22-issue series called Forceworks as well.
Yes, I collected that back then as well. Yeah.
I just grabbed all those out of the dollar bins a couple
They're
months
always in the dollar bin. That is my collection right there. You can find my collection in the dollar bin.
If I see a whole run in a dollar bin, I'm grabbing it. Like I can't even look away from it.
I loved Forceworks. I loved Iron Man. I loved War Machine. I thought Sentry was dumb as hell, but I liked Forceworks, man. Other than that, I don't know if anybody remembers Sentry, but he was pretty dumb.
Forceworks 2020.
What's up?
Forceworks 2020.
Yeah, I haven't checked the new stuff out yet. I bet it's trash though.
Right, and it doesn't have Julia Carpenter, so I don't care.
Yeah, I try not to collect too much Marvel these days, personally. Any of the new Marvel.
Now, who's your favorite comic character that you connect with or that you just enjoy reading the most?
I am a horror, really. I like a lot of characters, but if I had to pick a favorite, it was always Vision and Scarlet Witch. I always liked their relationship and like the difficulty of it. I don't know why as a kid, but I really locked. I would guess because I was always a hopeless romantic, probably. But I
And
really
they're
liked
cool,
Vision.
oddball characters.
And Scarlet Witch, as you can see now, we know now more. But back then, it was just like it just seemed like she could do whatever she wanted. Like she always seemed super powerful, even though her power was never really defined. It was like, she would get real tired, but she could get it done if she needed. She was like a story killer. If they needed something to happen, Scarlet Witch would take care of it for you. But it worked out for me because there's this great run in Avengers West Coast, which is the run that I had, where you have Immortus coming back and absorbing Wanda's kids because they were actually fragments of his soul, and that's actually become extremely relevant because of WandaVision. So some of those books that I found in quarter bins might actually be the book here in the coming years.
Now, as a big fan of those characters, what have you thought of their portrayal in the MCU and in the series?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm an easy to please guy. There's a lot of people out here who
Same here.
they want everything to be for them, and everything don't have to be for me. So I'm easy to please when I go on. I've loved everything about the MCU. The only movie I didn't like was Iron Man 3, and Iron Man 3 was still awesome compared to the Captain America that I loved from back in the day. That
Right,
crappy
with
Captain
the
America.
clear plastic shield and
Yes.
the water cycle.
See, that's the thing that kills me is like people get so angry and they say everything is so crappy, but I was born of that. So
right.
I remember that.
Remember the Doctor Strange TV movie?
No, I don't, but I bet it was bad.
You want to sit through something, try to sit through that.
I bet it was bad. But I remember like the first Spawn, like I loved the first Spawn. It was amazing to me. And people would probably, pan that now just because compared to what we have now. But we're just so spoiled now by the
that
MCU.
phrase, man, it's an embarrassment of riches what we have.
Yeah, it really is.
These type of movies are what we prayed for going up. I never thought, I'm 51. I never thought I would see anything like this ever.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Now we've had like 32 Spider-Man movies, and and they keep getting better, and they just so much good stuff.
That's why I'm so appreciative of it, because the kid in me is still there, and he's like, I cannot believe that any of this stuff is happening. It's incredible. Spider-Man, the biggest movie in the world. Are you kidding me?
Right. And now you were talking a few minutes ago about being poor, not being able to afford comics, which is something I can relate to. But now I want to pick on you about one of your video series. And when you always mention that you got a 10-book max, and you always fail to not just bring home, you always bring home more than 10 books. So why don't you talk about that a moment?
It's a fraud. So the 10-book limit started and it really was a result of one of the videos I sent you where I looked at my comic book collection. I've gained probably 1,500 comic books last year, in 2021, which is an absurd pace. So I started looking at that. I understand that's nothing to you. But I started looking at that pace, and I started looking at the number of boxes that accumulated in my man cave, and I started extrapolating that out over the next few years, and I was like, this is not tenable. So I tried to contain myself a little bit with this 10-book limit, but it's a complete sham. It's a fraud. I go in there and I buy what I want at the end of the day.
I'm listening.
Siri, what does untenable mean?
Untenable means, especially of a position or view, not able to be
maintained. You're right.
or
You're
defended.
Right. I know you know
Nick
that
has
word.
a problem with his vernacular.
I know your job. You know that word.
It's a tough time to be a collector because, again, we're in that embarrassment of riches. We have so much talented artists right now, so many talented writers. There's so many good storylines going, and they're not just going with one company. There's a lot of good stuff going everywhere you look, and it's easy to get caught up in it.
I call that one of those good problems.
Right. So did Sith Lordly get you all caught up in Star Wars too?
No, not yet. I try and catch the spine ticks. He keeps me posted on that. But I watch Star Wars. I don't read Star Wars so much. I'm one of those guys.
So you grew up reading all this Avengers West Coast and all this stuff that you're talking about, and watching the MCU stuff and watching this. But you mentioned earlier that you're trying not to do anything with Marvel current. What's up with that?
Well, that goes back to for looking at my pace and extrapolating it into the future and thinking, all right, where can we make cuts? And Marvel was just the place where I wanted. Marvel and DC initially were the place for me to make cuts, but it hasn't actually turned out to be cuts for DC. DC's actually increased just because because at the end of the day, it's just what do I really want and what can I not do without? And just Marvel books, reading them, they'd be okay. But you read that Heroes Reborn series, and it was okay, but like, I didn't feel like
the story is not doing it for you. It's nothing to do with the characters. It's the story.
Yeah, it's not enough for me. Yeah, no, definitely not the characters. It's just the story is not enough for me. Like, what stories in Marvel are really people excited about? There was King in Black for a little bit, but people were disappointed with the end. But I'm excited about Moon Knight myself. I mean, so there's some Marvel that I'm excited about, but a lot of the stuff is ho hum. And so that when I was thinking about how can I not collect so many books, Marvel was just the easy pick.
Oh, there's so much good, especially anything written by Kelly Thompson right now. Black Widow's been great. Captain Marvel's really good. But I really enjoyed Strange Academy. I think that's been like a good old Marvel Magic series. It's just been fantastic.
I just jumped in on Strange Academy, actually.
And I like Scotty Young's writing better than I like his art.
What?
I like both.
Not that there's anything wrong with his art. I just really enjoy it. I've been really enjoying his writing on Strange Academy.
I loved it in Me You Love in the Dark. I thought that was a great one. And I loved Jorge Corona's art in that book. It was just so banging to me. That was one of my tops last year for sure.
I agree with Digger Jim. Death of Dr. Strange. Good. Jed McKay, another great writer. What he's done with Black Cat the last 2 years has been amazing. But
yeah, he's going to be on Comic Kings here soon.
Yeah, that's a good land, Jed McKay. He's definitely going to check hot right now.
Yeah, what up, Choppin'? Oh, first of all, Chop and Drop. What up, Geek? What up, Roscoe? What up, Travis? I know I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. My bad, y'all.
Oh, you're fine. And so we'll play another little clip here for you that I'm going to ask.
I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible.
And that really was a hell of a drug because that was my first submission that I had ever sent. And I was really reluctant to do it because of people just complaining about the turnaround times. But I got my first submission back in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I got super spoiled. Now, my second submission
is always free, and then they come back and get you for more.
And I was wondering, I was wondering if it wasn't fast because it was my first hit, so they could suck me in. Because sure enough, I sent me another one, and it's been there since December 9th.
What's those grades? What's those grades going to be? Come on.
Now, what got you into getting graded comics in the first place, Marcus?
For me, it was about funding the hobby. For me, like I don't really need, although I'll say that I don't really need slabs for my personal collection. I say that, but some of the slabs I got, I kind of feel like I need now, so that's a lie.
But, you need them for your personal collection.
Yeah.
And so I'm the opposite. I slab for my PC, not to sell.
No, see, for me, it was slabbing to sell because that's how you get the most bang for your buck. Really, is to. So it was like, how can I, take some of these books, get some bang for my buck, so that I can start to fund this thing, which I have not sold a single book yet, so it's not quite working out yet.
Well, that's all right. Nick could school you in that a little bit. He's got some experience.
A little bit, yeah, but
yeah, I've been seeing some of his books. He's almost gotten me on some of them. We're like, oh no.
The thing about Nick is he finds some covers I've never seen before. He gets some really cool looking covers.
I can't remember the one he just shared.
And I see a lot of books, and he still finds some I never heard of.
Yeah,
there's a lot of esoteric ones out there, Gary.
There are.
Okay.
So you don't need to look that word up there, Nick. Esoteric. You got that one? Okay.
No, I'll let you finish shitting on my selling techniques.
The thing that I fell into, Marcus, with CGC and CBCS is I like every couple weeks I send another bundle of books out. So I always have 3 or 4 coming. I always have a cycle going.
3 or
That's
4.
nice. You got to stack them that way. You're always getting something because it is a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
little dopamine hit.
Well,
when
that
it
was the
comes in.
idea, but I've only gotten some back from last May. That so far none others. So I'm still waiting for that cycle to start.
Yeah, you
rotating.
keep waiting because that's what I'm doing. But I should have been doing 3 or 4 at a time instead of 20. And
You guys
So
have you guys developed a preference yet for between the two?
I think they're both
yeah.
good, but I've leaned over to the CBCS side myself. I think I really like how solid their slabs feel, and I like there's a little bit of UV protection to them, and I just really like them, and I love the fact that I can scan a QR code on the back and get my grader's notes. But Rob's much more of an expert on it than I am.
Well, I mean, I tend to right now, ever since the last price hike, I've been sending all my books, except for signature books, have been going to CBCS. And it's purely just a price thing for me because of how many books I send in. But having said that, I like the CBCS end product a little bit slightly better personally. I think that it's more solid in the QC, and the QC seems to have been, in my experience, a little bit better. But I will say that CGC is superior when it comes to being able to easily see what the status of your books is, getting responses from them, from customer support. Some of the consistency of some of that stuff is a little bit better. So
Better customer service.
Yeah, so I mean, I mean, my entire career has been in customer experience. So I admit fully the customer experience factor is better there. But in this case, for me right now, especially after this newest price hike, it's just strictly a price thing for me for my personal collection stuff.
But you don't do it to sell then? It's for you.
I do on occasion, but the number of books I've sold in the last 2 years is minuscule. It's mostly gone in mystery boxes. Is more how I get rid of some slabs or excess slabs or whatever. I don't know what excess is though, really.
Whatever doesn't fit, I guess.
Maybe when I run out of space in the garage.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play this other clip that you sent me. This is the last clip I have, and
It may get bigger, it may get a little bigger, it may not get bigger at all. We'll see what happens. But regardless of what happens, we're totally prepared.
That was probably the most popular one right there.
Now, what is your wife's view on your collection?
She is, we're both live and let live sort of people. We got together late, and so we're both very independent people. So as long as I'm not causing her problems, as long as we're paying the bills, I'm okay. But she does wonder what exactly the plan is. That one right there was a real conversation we were having about. Okay, you started this in March. You have this many. You started with this 3 boxes. You have 17 boxes now.
What's your end game?
I'm counting forward here.
I want them all.
So yeah, she's live and let live as long as I handle my business. But I definitely can't have a box or a house full of those boxes.
Now, does she collect anything herself? Is she a collector?
No.
Has that mentality or not at all?
No, not at all. No. Doesn't get it. Nobody in my life gets it, really, to tell you the truth. So I'm glad I got y'all.
We're glad to have you.
That sucks.
It does. That's why, like I said, when you asked me before, that was the biggest thing that sucked me into this is when I got on to YouTube and I got onto Instagram and I saw this community of people who were really excited about a vast variety of books. It was like I was done. I was like I was drunk off of it. It's for real.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a great community and getting everybody treats each other like we were told as kids to treat each other like you want to be treated yourself, right?
That's a big thing, really, because I think one thing that I think about a lot is I'm a very political sort of person, but in this comic book thing, I don't want none. I don't want any of that stuff because I don't want to fight with. I don't want to disagree. I don't want to fight with anybody, and I don't want to spend any time on the things that I hate because in politics, I feel like that's all it is
Oh,
that
we
we're
have
just.
plenty of it. Like whether Superman can beat Thor or Thor can beat
Yeah, I don't.
Superman, or
I pass all that stuff.
but I mean, those are like,
And they're fun. They're mostly for the fun. But whenever like I remember there was a channel that I followed in the beginning, and I stopped following because like they were too much about the things that they hated, and I'm not interested. Like
oh
if you
yeah,
hate
yeah.
the things, you can just leave these things alone. Let's talk about the things that you love. I remember on Twitter following this guy who spent a lot of time in Japan, and maybe K Titus can speak to this, but he said one of the big differences that he noticed is that in Japan he really felt like the Japanese spent a lot of time on the things that they loved. Whereas in America, we seem to spend all our time on the things that we hated. And that really resonated with me because it also kind of pissed me off because I felt attacked. Like I was one of those people. And I love having this because it's like, it's all positivity. If there's something that I don't like, I don't need to spend any energy on it. I can just, it's all
Next
love
video.
here. It's all love.
That's
I
right.
tell people all the time, it's like whenever they say, "Hey, sorry for this" or "sorry for that," I say, I'm just so thankful. I expect nothing, and I appreciate everything in this game, and so don't even worry about me.
Well, see,
That's
and
awesome.
that's the whole thing with this community too. Like, and the whole reason I started, well, not started, but the reason I stayed with this is my escape from the stresses of life.
Yes,
Coming to this
yes.
community and doing my channel, it's about embracing the things that I love and that bring me joy. I'm not out there to tear books down or companies. If I don't like a book, I just don't read it.
You
I
don't
don't
talk
have to
about
put
it.
it
You
down
move on.
because
Mhm.
it's not for me. And also the thing I don't like is, and I'm curious if you agree with this or not, but it's a mentality that bothers me. Oh, I'll read this. Oh, I didn't like it. It sucks. Well, no, it just wasn't for you. If something's not for you, it doesn't mean it sucks.
I beg to
It
differ.
just means it's
Nick
for
Spencer's
somebody
run on
else.
Amazing Spider-Man sucked. I'm sorry.
Well, that was universally agreed upon, though, Rob.
75 issues of treading water.
Yeah,
One
I
good
didn't like
person.
it. I'm a very generous person. I'm very lenient. I will give a writer a lot of leeway, and I gave Spencer a lot of
Oh yeah,
leeway, man.
I
It
gave him
didn't
every
work for
single
me.
issue to try and
Yeah.
pull a Hail Mary out of the on the final run, and nope. All
But
right,
it
well,
makes you wonder when a company
thanks.
invests that much time with somebody on that many issues, because they had to be getting letters.
Yeah, but they
I
know
think they just had the goal of fixing that storyline issue, whatever it was.
people
It
are
didn't
always in by
matter.
Spidey. That's the
Well,
bottom.
yeah, that's it. It was like it was still selling books.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I hated it, and I still bought every
Yeah,
book.
I still got
Everyone,
all
and
those
then
issues
and
too.
then Gleason came along and said, "Oh, hey, great, we'll buy 4 and 5 copies of this crappy book."
Spider-Man and
Yeah,
Batman are those two characters. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
exactly.
those
People
are the
will
two
buy them.
books. Those are the two books.
And I'm guilty.
Yeah, me too.
Read those books or pick up those books for the character and not for the story.
Although
I
Batman's been worthwhile. I like Batman.
It's
we
up and
we all
down.
do that
Yeah.
with certain characters, though. I mean, there's nobody that I don't think there's anybody out here in this collecting community that's not guilty of that for some reason. Sometimes you just don't want
Probably.
to see your favorite character go by the wayside. You just, oh,
That's the thing. Yeah, especially in this comic book game, you got to support the things you love. Absolutely. That's why we
Agreed.
need to spend time on them instead of the things that we hate.
Now, what's your favorite storyline? That's one going on right now, and two, what was your favorite storyline of 2021 last year?
Oh man, I was on the designated decoys and we were talking about our top picks for 2021, and I told them the truth is Something is Killing the Children is my top pick for 2021, but that's a basic bitch ass answer. So I don't want to give you that answer because that's, everybody's,
Okay, so before you move on to number two, what is it about that story that you like? What hooks
I like
you?
Erica Slaughter. I'm a big fan of Erica Slaughter. I like the women really because I love Jessica Slaughter as well. I like the lore of it. It's just really interesting. But the main thing is I love how badass Erica Slaughter is. I'm a big fan of it. I love how straightforward, no bullshit she is, because that's somewhat of how I see myself, although not as good as she is. But yeah, it's my favorite for sure. It's the thing that, like, if I'm trying to like, I've got a few people to read Something is Killing Children, and they've all liked it. It's like the thing, if I'm gonna get somebody to understand this thing, that's the book that I'm gonna use, because it's just that it's really good. It just is. I know not everybody feels it, but to me, it's really good. But if I were to give you like my non-basic bitch answer, right now, I would say Barbaric, when that comes back, will be a lot of fun.
Barbaric was so good.
Looking
And
forward to
I
that.
ended up liking that way more than I thought. The dynamic with him and the axe and the witch was fantastic.
There's a lot of folks like you who don't like it because of the English. The language is not, old English, so they got mad about it. But I didn't care about that.
Oh, I expected to like it. I just didn't expect to love it as much as I did, because I'm all about the barbaric stuff. So I wanted it to work, and the fact that it worked so well, and I'm ready for the second arc.
I love the axe. He's my favorite. It's funny. The axe is my favorite character, man. I love
the axe is hilarious.
Yeah, that could be fun. That's gonna be fun when it comes back. And that, if that were to get some legs and be option, that I'm imagining that axe, that could be a lot of fun, man.
Great.
And I was a fool buying the $9 covers that they were putting out of it. Everything. I was like, I gotta have it.
$9. If it's a $10 cover, I don't even think about that. It's the 25. I'm like, I don't know. $10. That's like, whatever. You take my
now,
money.
Did you read Ultra Mega? Because that was a good little series.
I did start it, but I'm just not into kaiju, I guess, because I was like, I didn't get into that one.
I don't usually, but there was something about that I really liked. That one caught me by surprise. That and Noctera is one of my favorite storylines of last year too. I love Noctera. And I know that's been hit or miss for people.
That was going to be my pick for last year, is Noctera. I think that.
But I'm a sucker for strong women, so.
I was just going to say the same thing. And I didn't know this, but I guess it makes sense. I was raised by a woman, a single mom. But I love, like, my favorite characters in the game right now are women. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. Erica Slaughter, Jessica Slaughter. I was a big fan of her. God, who I'm blanking now on the other ones. Oh, Valerie from Noctera. Just loving the women in it right now.
Well, in reality, I mean, it's really a bit of a refreshing change, right? For so long, the comics have been so dominant based on just male characters, and the females were usually damsels or eye candy only, right? And so there had always been a couple, but you didn't have it like you have it now, especially in a lot of the independent books that are coming along. And so it becomes something that's very refreshing and different as well, too.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying it. You're seeing it in the MCU too. A lot of women. Yelena, I don't know if you guys watched Hawkeye, but I watched Black Widow, and Yelena was cool, whatever. But in Hawkeye, I was like,
yeah,
you're awesome. I like you.
Her interactions with Kate were just
it was so fun. My second favorite so far, for sure. My favorite being Loki, because Loki was just so consequential. What up, Ty Locks? What up, Josh? JD83 Comics. What up, brother? I didn't see you in here.
And I thought you were going to say WandaVision because of Wanda and Vision.
WandaVision was great. I loved it, and but it's definitely third.
Hawkeye caught me completely by surprise. I expected to like it, but that was another show that it surpassed my expectations, and I loved every episode. Even when other people were complaining about it, I was eating it up and just loving everything they gave me.
Yeah, I liked every episode, everything. I'm a little curious about the reveal. I don't want to spoil anybody, but the reveal at the end with Clinton Barton's wife, I'm curious how they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I hope they can work it out. I'm sure they will.
And I really like that reveal because it meant that there's more Clinton Barton and his wife in future
history.
MCU.
Yeah,
well, it doesn't necessarily mean that. But
yeah, I don't think it means that.
Yes, it does. Don't ruin my dreams.
But Loki was the best. Loki was the best for me by far. I loved the music, the feel, everything, and then it was just so consequential. Like I didn't get the direct link to it in the watching No Way Home, but I really do believe that No Way Home does not happen without the events of Loki. It's not possible. And I really wanted them to just spell that out, but they never did. I hope they do at some point, because I really want that all to be interconnected because that's the beauty of the MCU.
Yeah, I
And
think
such
that
great casting in these shows too.
Loki was great.
Like of course Tom Hiddleston, and then
Owen Wilson was
yes,
great.
thank you. Owen Wilson was just so spot on as that character.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
why am I blanking on names now? The guy that got to play Kane.
Oh, Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan
Yeah,
Majors.
Instant
Get ready.
on-screen chemistry with the other actors, and the deliveries of the lines were so good.
Get ready for
And-
Kang Mania. It's going to
Yeah.
be wild, I think. I
and
think Kang
even
Mania
the
is going to be out of
female
control.
Loki, I wasn't
What
on
you
board
gonna
with her the
do?
first 2 episodes, and then I loved her by the end of all of them.
I liked every episode. Even the slow episodes, I was in it. I loved it.
Oh.
The music especially, man. There's just something about the music that set the mood of that show. I don't know who did the music, but kudos, man. You nailed it. It's my favorite. I want one of these shows to beat it, but it's still my favorite.
Now, what character are you waiting to see on screen that you haven't seen yet?
Oh man. Damn. That's a good question. I would have said US Agent, but we've seen him now. But he was a big one that I really wanted to see from my West Coast Avengers days. I'm probably gonna go with someone from West Coast Avengers. Like Wonder Man or someone
I
like
was just
that,
gonna
probably.
mention Wonder Man.
Wonder
We had
Man had an
rumors-
interesting.
Because we had
He had
rumors about him, even, right? We had
He
rumors
had
that
an
Nathan
interesting-
Fillion was gonna play.
He had
That
an
was
interesting
way back in the
relationship
day,
with
though.
Scarlet Witch,
Yeah.
he always had a thing for Wanda, so that I thought that dynamic would be interesting. But I just want to see West Coast Avengers, really. Like they've been dabbling with it and playing with it here and there. I want to see them do more with it because, like I said, it was my thing from being a kid.
And Wonder Man could fill that bombastic attitude that Tony Stark had.
And he can replace, or he can be a foil to Vision or a love triangle with Vision a little bit. There's some interesting things they can do.
And I'd be curious to see them do Machine Man for an oddball character.
I'm not familiar with Machine Man, although I do have a book, the first appearance of Power Broker, I think, my only Machine Man book.
Was that issue 2, right?
I don't remember now. I don't think it's 2 though. It's like 6 or 9 or something.
Now,
That thing didn't go anywhere.
what are your collecting goals for this new year? Like, what are you looking to complete any runs besides the Avengers West Coast?
So I have the 2 books left in Avengers West Coast, and then I'm gonna start focusing on the more big boy books that you guys have so many of. My focus will be really to try and get them wrong and then get them slabbed just for
Those
that
guys
boost.
have.
Way to go.
Yeah, I know Nick's got some sick ones too. That dude has too much money. He needs to give me some.
I'm a niche collector, so I tend to the books I like tend not to be as pricey as the ones the other people like.
Yeah,
it takes all
don't go on
kinds.
an ASM sub 100 run if you want to be rich.
No, yeah, that's not happening. That's a lot. I might go on a ASM, 300 month run minus the big book. But I do have a family and kids. My wife will look at me funny if I'm spending that much money.
You just
Really,
tell her you're
actually,
putting it away to sell when your kid goes to college.
You just gotta build that
Yeah.
snowball. Keep subbing those books to CGC and just hope for the best and sell them. And that's how
That's
you
the game plan. That's
But
the new
see,
focus for this year.
Nick's got an advantage that we don't, Marcus. He lives right around the corner from CBCS. He can go get books graded before they're cold. He can go get them graded and have them in a couple days.
Yeah, I had a friend who lives down in Winfield, Kansas, who would just drive down there and get his books all the time. It would be nice. It would be real nice. What is the turnaround time with that? How much time does it save you?
If you do the 2-day submissions, I literally could drop a book off on Monday and pick it up Wednesday afternoon.
Dang, that'd be nice.
It's 20 minutes from my house, so.
You see, Rob, and that's why our books take 5 months because ours are just going into grading,
people
and then
like-
Nick arrives
yeah.
and they push ours to the back again and do
Damn
his.
Listen,
Yeah.
you guys are in the same chats I am. I said just send them to me.
Yeah,
That would
part
be
of my
nice.
problems is I'm also not paying for the 2-day turnaround time on most of my books. So
So it seems like CBCS is drawing even with CGC these days. Like in terms of, like if they're not in terms of the culture. they're
Well,
not
there's a lot more
even.
since the price hike. There was a lot more people that started, and when CGC's lead times got stupid ridiculous for a while, a lot of people started experimenting with CBCS, and so you started seeing more growth there, and a lot of people being interested in it, especially the people who were trying to get books turned around quickly so that they could turn around and sell them and make a profit. There you go. They were realizing that
Bobby, what's up, buddy?
2-day turnaround time that they had at CBCS for the price, you couldn't beat it.
I'm going to be
but-
perfectly honest. This is a much superior product than this.
Even with the fancy label.
But the labels do look pretty.
Yeah.
But this is far sturdier.
Yeah.
And it feels like a more solid product than this.
It doesn't have Newton rings, and like I said, the final product is better with CBCS, but it's the customer experience and some of the other little things that people like on the CGC. So it's still a preference, and I don't I still use both mostly. Like I said, CGC I mostly just use for signature stuff right now, but to each his own, whatever he likes to do. It's all good. I mean, great turnaround times are about par. The cost is the only real difference there, and when you get to the selling price, I think you've seen a narrowing of the gap. I think it really only comes to some of the super big boy books that really you start to see a significant gap in any kind of selling between CGC and CBCS, and that'll change too over time.
It's been dwindling a lot. They're pretty on par now.
Yeah,
so,
but
Marcus, you've only used CGC, right? You haven't tried CBCS yet?
I have not. But shout out to Kansas City's own Bobby De La Ghetto. Definitely want to shout out to my homie. He got me my Avengers West Coast 46. He was a big part of me getting close to completing this run. Shout out to Bobby. It was cool meeting up with him. But I'm sorry, what was the question again? I had to represent the Chiefs.
Oh, no, you're good.
That guy's a legend. Bobby De La G is a legend.
He is, and rightfully so. I had his thing. I had to put all my stuff up because we had some plumbing work, so I had to clean all my stuff. But I usually have his little guy that he gave me sitting right here. He gave me his little custom made Captain America. It's dope. My son is mad because he can't have it, but it's dope.
Now, are you also into the figures and toys and stuff too?
No, get away from me. Like I could be sucked into statues for sure. But I'm trying to avoid that because comic books are enough. But no, I'm trying to avoid all that right now. Definitely trying to avoid Funko Pops and all that stuff. I'll check it out and be like, yeah, that's cool. But these comic book boxes are enough right now.
Yeah. Heroin is fine. I don't need to go try cocaine at the same time.
Yeah.
Statues are tough because I always imagine all it takes is, if you have an animal or, or you got kids, like, my kid's 11. He's like,
or you're taking a slab off your wall, right, Nick?
Or you just have no hair and just bump easily into a $1,200 statue and just knock the fingers off. I mean, that's what happens.
Right, break an arm off or a head.
Okay, maybe I won't do statues.
Yeah, stay away from statues, bro.
I'd love to have one upstairs right as you walk in or something.
It's never just one. Never just one.
All right, but I want to take this point for Rob to ask his patented question because I want your answer on this. So,
Patent pending. That's right. Copyrighted too. So we don't get a copyright strike because I copyrighted it. So Marvel and DC here. They come to you. They've been watching your content. They understand that you have an opinion. And they realize that they have a problem. That they're just not engaging with the readers necessarily this on the same level as they used to. You get the creative team and you get to take one book from one of those two and run with it. Make it your own. What book are you going to take control of? And what do you think direction you'd take it?
If that happened, I would probably go find people smarter than me and get their opinions on it. Because I don't have super strong opinions like that. But if I were to answer the question, let's think. What is crappy that I'd like to not be crappy? Maybe Iron Man. I'd like to fix Iron Man, make it more interesting,
Mhm.
and to do it, the writing will be done. Oh man, I'm deciding between two guys, and we're gonna go with Jed McKay.
That's
We'll
what
have
I was thinking.
Jed McKay do it, and the art will be done by Jorge Jimenez. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Actually, I think I just did good. Yeah, that's what we're going with. I like what I
Fair.
did there.
Now, are
Fair
those
enough.
your
Yeah.
favorite writer and authors right now? I mean,
My
writer and
favorite
artist.
My favorite writer is James Tynion for sure, but for a superhero book, I don't know that that's who I would pick, so that's why I didn't pick him. But James Tynion and Tom Taylor are my favorites for sure right now, I would say.
Cool.
Easy answer.
Any
I
anything
like
you'd like to
Jet
any, anything you'd like to see them do with the story with the character that's been different or not done or
with Iron Man. I don't
yeah.
know, honestly. I haven't been following it since I got back. I just know that a lot of people talk smack on it and say it's not good. And Iron
Oh, the current
Man,
run is not.
yeah, and he's one of my guys from Avengers West Coast, so
Uh,
I would like to see him do well. I would like to collect that, but like I said, I'm not going to pick up a Marvel book when I don't feel like they're as good, especially the quality right now. So it would when I'm trying to cut back on this extreme expansion, it's just easy to cut Marvel out, man.
fair enough.
Now, what's your ratio to buying old books to new books?
That is another part of it, really, because the vast majority of the books that I bought last year, I would say I probably spend 15 to 20 books a week on New Comic Book Day, but I'd really go and like buy a 30 book run of Fantastic Four or something, really at a half price books or something. So that was I probably still do it quite a bit. What up, Michael Walker? Jeff Lemire is another one of my favorite writers, by the way. But I go to a lot of half price books around here in vintage stocks and just trying to find those sneaky books. Like I recently did a giveaway on my channel for Avengers 267 and 269. They're two Kang covers that I think are going to explode when that Kang Mania goes. And I found all of my copies for $3, and they're $30 to $60 books now. So I love that high of finding that cheap dollar bin book that's gonna be a big book that maybe I could flip, but I probably won't flip because I never sell any books. But uh, so the vast majority of my books were that kind of looking for those books, finding the first appearance of Kid Loki for $2, a couple of times. That stuff
Nice.
right there. And I'll probably keep doing that, but I'll be probably more focused because before I would go if I found like Fantastic Four 200 to 300, it didn't matter what book it was. I was just buying it. I just because I felt like it was worth more than the $2 they were selling it for. And I'm saying I'm gonna try and do less of that, but I'm probably lying to tell you the truth. I'm probably gonna keep doing it,
Well,
but the
and it's
vast majority is old books.
yeah, and it's great. Those old books, you can sit down and you're with them for 20 minutes, and there's just tons of writing in them. So, kind of going with that too. What's your favorite age of comic to collect? Gold, silver, bronze, copper, modern.
For me, it's modern, really, because this is my childhood comic book memory is just not as complete as a lot of guys I see talk about their childhood, how they loved this X-Men story. Like I said, my comic book collecting was more sporadic, a matter of get in where you fit in, and it wasn't always something that like it was not often that I could follow a full story to its completion for that reason. So for me, I really love collecting the modern books. I have dreams of holding 5 copies of the next Ultimate Fallout 4 or something like that. So I buy a lot of old books, but I'm most excited about new books, really.
Now, also, since you've been on YouTube, talk a little bit about some of these groups you've fallen into and how the community's embraced you and just, kind of your journey right now with your station.
Well, I don't know if I've fallen in any groups, but definitely I've fallen into the comic book community group, which has been awesome. And like I said before, that was one of the things that was missing as a kid, where, I'm reading my wizard book and I'm really excited about this stupid geeky thing, and I didn't have anybody to share it with. And that's a big part of the fun of this game, is being able to share it with other geeks like yourself. So that's the biggest, most beautiful thing. Like, I was talking to my wife about it yesterday, about, like, I have all these friends, these comic book friends that I've never met, but they're my friends. They really are my friends, and that's been the best thing about it by far. Like, I watch all your videos. I'm trying, even the stuff, like, I'm not a big Conan guy, but I'm still checking out what you got going on, because maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I'm missing something, and I should be a Conan guy. That's really how I feel about everything in comic books. Even the stuff I don't like, maybe I'm missing it. I'm old enough to know that I don't know everything.
And a lot of it for me is if I'm watching someone, like, I'm not a big card person, but there's a few card channels I watch, and I'm not really a big DC person, but I'll watch some. It's about how passionate someone is. If they're talking about it and they got passion about it and it's bringing them real joy, I find that addictive, regardless of what card or book they're holding up in front of them or talking about. I just like to see people actually enjoying what they're doing.
Mark from Legion Comics comes to mind. He really knows his stuff, and he's passionate about his stuff. I like when he gets going. I like it. I like listening. So yeah, I agree with you. The people who are really passionate and knowledgeable about it, they're fun to watch.
Now, how do you determine your top 10 lists every week? Is it just personal taste, or is there more thought into
yeah.
the top 10 than that?
It's all personal taste. It's entirely about me and what I'm getting. So my top 10 preview are the books that I'm most excited about pulling from my pull list. So I'm cutting it down. It's usually 15 to 20. I'm trying to cut it down to 10. And then the comic book cover art, that's the way harder one, where I'm really trying to be objective. And even the books that I don't read, I'm trying to make sure that I'm closely looking at all of their covers. So that's the really hard one, is coming up with the cover art one.
It's tough for me not to buy variant covers. Like, I bought 5 Captain Marvel covers this last week. 5 different ones.
I'm the same way.
It is.
I'm the same way.
It's
I was
insane.
like,
I mean, my passion is really for the older art, but I will tell you that the current stuff, it's like in a renaissance period with covers on so many great covers that are coming out. It's just a very different style, but man, I can appreciate it and love it. And I've been hit heavy by the variant game at times on those, just because of that myself. So
I have an absurd number of House of Slaughter #1 variants, an absurd number of Berserker #1 variants, an absurd number.
Now, do you like that House of Slaughter story? Because it's very different from Something Is Killing the Children.
Yes, but I am a sucker for that stuff. Like, so if you're skeptical about the House of Slaughter world, then we're not in the same ballpark. I'm a fanboy for it. I like everything. So I am a big fan of Jessica Slaughter. I'm a big fan of Aaron Slaughter. I'm really interested in the backstory stuff. So I know not everybody's been feeling it, but I've been enjoying it, and I've come to trust that Tynan's gonna lead me somewhere fun. So I'm enjoying the ride.
I understand that. I mean, that's just like, I think we were 10 issues into the High Republic, and I had a short box full of flipping covers and stuff.
Well, that's how it goes. That's how it be sometimes.
That's right. Oh my God. Yeah, Gary, how many King Conan variants do you pick up?
Yeah.
A better question for Gary. He says, does he have all the Conan 2099 variants?
I got 3 different Conan 2099 covers.
Phenomenal. Good man.
Shout out to Chop and Drop. Appreciate him. He's always supporting the comic book community, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Chop and Drop is everywhere.
He is. And
yet,
he's out here holding up a number of channels on his shoulders. So we appreciate you, brother.
Right? Well, he's our little superhero in the comic community.
After Jerry the Jitterbug, he's number 2 who I want to see on the hot seat.
Make it happen.
Oh,
that would be fun. That would be fun.
Oh, Jerry's been in the hot seat before. He's going to be back for a second time.
Because Chop doesn't show his face in his videos.
I try to zoom and enhance on the glare and that TV in the background.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Mhm.
Chop, yes, there's one.
Yes, Chop and I did a Savage Saturday on it.
Yeah, it was part of their recent, like
It
2
was
years
good.
ago. 2 years ago, I think it was roughly. They did a little 2099 tease, or several books had just a single issue, and there was one there, Conan versus the Thorites.
And the funny thing about that, Rob, is I bought it just because it was Conan, expecting it to be horrible,
Right.
and it was a really good story.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think
I'm
I
sure
think the
you've
only
been-
one that was awful was the Fantastic Four 2099 one.
I'm sure you've been asked this, but if we're remaking Conan, who's the new Conan?
Oh,
Who's
I want an
replacing
unknown.
Arnold?
I want an
Somebody- a new
unknown,
guy.
someone that
Yeah.
can become the part.
That makes
Someone
sense.
that looks more like the way Robert E. Howard wrote them, and I'm hoping that that's what we get with the Conan Netflix series that's coming out.
Oh, I didn't even know that was coming.
It's in development, so Conan Properties Limited took the rights over to Netflix, and they got a whole thing going right now.
Well, good luck to you. I hope it's good. I know you're hyped.
I've been waiting because it's funny you brought up too, because Jason Momoa was a good Conan, but he was a good Conan in a badly written movie.
What movie was he Conan in?
The 2011 one.
I don't even remember that. No,
he looked more like how Robert E. Howard wrote Conan, but the script on that movie was all over the place. But he himself was a good Conan. So
check that out. I'm interested.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it quite a bit, but I can still see the flaws in it, and it's too bad because he never got a chance to make more, and he wanted to make 3 of them too. But
I love the old ones, man. Arnold and Red Sonja, that was my jam when I was a kid.
yeah, well, there's a new Red Sonja coming out too.
Now, if it's not that same chick from before, I don't want it.
Oh no, I'm glad it's a different one. She was
What's her name?
horrible.
I can't.
Bridget
I loved her.
Nielsen.
How dare you? What was her name? Bridget Nielsen. That's right.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
doesn't look too good
her
now
acting
anyway.
was so bad in that. Now I say that, and I still watch it like at least once every couple months.
I haven't seen that forever, but I remember I loved that movie. It was always on TV, like TNT or something. I remember. I'd always watch it.
And if it wasn't that, it was Beastmaster.
Oh
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Tanya Roberts.
Beastmaster was on a couple times a week.
Tanya Roberts in a loincloth.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
I'll take
sir.
it. I'll take it.
Also,
What up, Harper? What up, Hidden Gem Comics?
speaking of her too, Nick, is Sheena.
Oh yeah. Red hair, blue eyes. I'll take it all day.
Yeah. What
Oh,
about that?
goodness.
What about that gal from Jurassic Park? Should she do it? I forget her name.
No.
The redhead.
You want from World?
Yeah, the newer ones. Yeah. With the ones
That's,
with Chris Pratt.
Ron
His
Howard's
love
daughter.
interest.
Yeah.
Is
no,
that her?
no,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Bridget or Dallas Bryce Howard?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah.
You mean Gwen Stacy?
I thought Gwen Stacy was Emma Stone.
She played Gwen Stacy in Toby.
in number 3
Mm-hmm.
I don't
of the
remember
Sam
that.
Raimi movies.
I'm gonna have to watch that again. I don't remember that movie at all, though. That was a long time ago. It's crazy.
No, with the dancing sequence, I try to forget also.
I liked that sequence.
No.
That was dope.
You
That
can't-
was dope.
All right, we were talking about rabbit holes earlier. Have any of you guys? Do you guys go down the Bully Maguire rabbit hole at all on YouTube?
The what?
You guys have never heard of it? You
No.
guys need to search Bully Maguire, and they take.
No, I might fall down a rabbit hole.
Oh, it's a good rabbit hole. You'll be laughing for hours. They take Tobey Maguire out of Spider-Man 3, and they insert him in other movies and things.
No, I don't need to see that.
Oh, it's hilarious. And
Bully Maguire kills the Winter Soldier. Bully Maguire.
oh, there's a ton. There's probably 100 Bully Maguire videos. They're all super short. They're all hilarious. And it's just, and they just make him like with the lines he did when he was Emo Pete. And oh, you will have a good time. Bully Maguire is amazing.
Just before you watch them, make sure you fix that damn door.
Right?
So if I want to watch that, that's going to take away what little time I spend trying to watch everybody else.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a lot. It can be a lot. Yeah, it's fun though.
and especially with that one line he did too. Here's dirt. Here's a little dirt. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. Oh, they use that a lot. So funny. But anyway, we're getting towards the end here, so I wanted to wrap it up by letting you have a chance to give a few shout outs that of some people you'd like to promote in the community and a little bit of what's coming up for your channel. Then we'll start doing our goodbyes, and then you as a guest always get the last goodbye. And then we're going to sing out, and we're going to make you sing with us because that's what we do in this channel.
All right, I ain't scared. Y'all can listen to me sing. It's worse for y'all than it will be for me.
Challenge accepted.
So what was the first part? I forgot. There was too many things.
Shout outs.
Shout outs. Yes, people that I love. Well, let's talk about the channel for the people in the chat right now. I was watching Harper over at Hidden Gem Comics before I jumped on with you guys. He likes to go and watch other channels and comment on it. It's kind of fun sitting and watch. It's like sitting with your friends and watching something. So I enjoy what he does. Shout out to Bobby De La Ghetto. Thank you for hooking me up with the Avengers West Coast 46. Go Kansas City Chiefs on our way to another Super Bowl. Shout out to TM Nerdy Travis, another Chiefs fan. He's going to be at Kansas City Comic Con this year. Can't wait to do that. I hope I get to hook up with all of y'all at Planet Comic Con here. I think in April. Bobby, I think it's April. Bobby's going to show me around. I went last year and I was by myself. I was a loser by myself. So Bobby's going to give me some cool people to hang out with this year. Looking forward to that. Shout out to Chop and Drop. I said it before, but love everything that you do in this community supporting everybody. Shout out to Sith Lordley over at Spine Ticks. I love the culture and the world that he has built up in this community as well. Evil Mike, got to shout out my homie Evil Mike. Dank Comics, love my homie Dank Comics. Man, there's too many people to name, man. But I just love everybody, even the people who I have nothing in common with on our new comic book day hauls. I still love what you're doing because you're teaching me, and I really want to know as much as I can about this community. So shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to Michael Walker in the chat. He hooked me up with 2 signed copies of Barbaric #1 by Michael Moretti. Appreciate you.
Ooh, nice.
All right. That's all I got, I think. Shout out to Christopher Merling. He's probably not in this chat, but he's one of my big supporters. Love you, brother. All right, I'm done.
Oh, you're good. Let's go through the suspects. Rob, what have you got coming up, sir?
Well, this Saturday is Slab Hub, which means we'll have a guest on to share off some of their slab collection and go in the journey down their thing. We're going to have Chef Boyardee on this week on Slab Hub. So 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Be sure to check it out.
Nick, what you got coming up, sir?
As far as I go, I am trying to fund the hobby tomorrow via Whatnot. So I'll be on Whatnot 1 p.m. Eastern. Check me out at Nix_Kix_and_comics.
Easy to find.
I'll probably be on Legion's chat tomorrow, and Saturday I will be double dipping with this guy's 1K giveaway and with Kevin and a few weird people on Superpower Review.
Oh, nice.
Double dipping, is that a euphemism?
Probably if these guys get their hands on it, but I'll be on 2 streams. That means
Hey, just don't cross the streams.
Don't cross the swords either.
Never
Right.
cross swords.
All right, and then on Friday I'll be putting out something, probably a bargain haul. Saturday, I got a busy day. It's going to be Savage Saturday comic review again, as I do every Saturday. So I'll review one barbaric book, and we'll get it out there. And then, of course, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time on my channel is the Push to 1K Grow Together giveaway. And the rules were simple. You have until Saturday to enter. So you got one more day. You got tonight and tomorrow. You have to go to the 1K Push Grow Together giveaway video. I tell you how to enter. It's super easy. If you're a content maker, you make a video shouting out 3 people. Super easy. if you are just a commenter, you go to, and you got to tag me so I can find your video, or send me the video through Instagram, the tag. If you are just a commenter, all you have to do is add 3 people and shout them out on Instagram and make sure you tag me so I know that you entered. There are going to be tons of prizes that night. We got Rob Fat Stax is giving away a beautiful slab. Nick's Kix and Comix has got something tucked away. We got Jerry the Jitterbug donating a gift. We have Night Tiger Comics donating a stack of books. We have Roger from Metarog donating books. We have a fantastic grand prize with an original art piece by Ken Wheaton of Medusa on the Inhumans cover that I gave him to work on. Plus, I might be throwing in a little fire. I might be throwing in, or I will be throwing in, a second printing of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the first April O'Neil. But there will be no prizes for giveaway trolls. You either did the work and entered the proper way. If you just show up to try to win a prize in the chat, sadly, you will not be qualified to do so. I'm going to have a list of names on a wheel. All prizes will be drawn from that wheel from all the people that did the work to support other channels. But that's what I got coming up. And with that said, thank you everyone in the chat for coming out tonight. And really appreciate you guys coming out to support Marcus on the show and bringing us into the new year successfully. Thank you guys very much. We certainly appreciate all of you. Marcus, thank you for kicking off the new year with us, man. You're a great guest. You're a great human. Super awesome talking to you and getting to know you a little bit better. We really appreciate your presence on the show and agreeing to come on. It was really nice of you and super appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks you for having me. I had a good time, man. It was good chatting with y'all, man.
And now, go ahead.
I was just saying, good to be on the screen with my homie Nick's Kicks.
I love this guy. This guy he brought me, brings me joy a lot of times, but that one day he just sent me into a rabbit hole.
Mark Revier nailed it.
Yeah, great stuff. That interaction is what this community is really all about. Finding stuff you never knew that you would, and just making it a part of your life for the rest of your life.
Rabbit holes, baby. Rabbit holes.
No statues though. Don't do statues.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a fun show. We're gonna have some good community members win prizes, and I'm looking forward to it. It's the biggest giveaway I've done on my channel. But as we always end this, guys, we're gonna do our awkward ending. So we're gonna see you all on the next show where we're gonna have Flash by Night as our guest next week. After Flash by Night, we have Simple Simon on. After Simple Simon, we have Nick the Comic Nerd. Our January is booked, so we got some great guests coming your way. And as I like to end these, awkward ending, awkward ending, awkward ending, awkward ending, awkward ending.